We now go to item 86, to create a stormwater public utility district through the use of intergovernmental local services agreement for the operation of the city and parish's municipal separate stormwater sewer system so as to meet state and federal requirements, and provide for the construction and acquisition of additions, improvements, and extensions to the system, as well as maintenance, financing, and operation of the system by Environmental Services Director and the Parish Attorney's Office. Is there anyone here wishing to speak on item 86? We now go to council members. Is there
Council members, y'all should have received 75 comments in opposition to item 86.
We now go to council members. Is there a motion to approve item 86?
If this is approved tonight, and then the subsequent vote fails later, what happens and what position are we in if that's the case? If we approve this and the next vote, the subsequent vote in October fails?
I would tell you we're still in a favorable position because we would have recognized the stormwater district as a utility. That provides some opportunity, if you will, for us to improve how we manage stormwater across the parish. It signals to our regulatory agencies that we care and are concerned and have a sense of urgency for how we improve, how we manage and get our maintenance done. And it will help us come into compliance to where we need to be relative to the federal regulations that we're operating under. So it will benefit independent of the results of any future action.
Thank you so much. And with regard to timeline, if we were to defer this for a week, is there any implication, negative impact or implications that we would have if we deferred it for a week?
Yes, I believe there are. We believe that this needs to be in place. We are required to report to the federal agencies what we're doing and where we are, and they expect us to make some progress towards improving how we manage our stormwater utility. And this is a pivotal action that needs to be approved in order to demonstrate how serious City Parish is around improving how we conduct ourselves, organize ourselves, and do the maintenance for the stormwater system. So we believe that this is a significant step that we need to take.
So again, I'm sorry, I said last question, but a failure to move forward tonight, what would be the consequence of that?
Personally, I don't know that I can answer that question with absolute certainty, but my belief is it will lead us towards enforcement action.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate both of your
Thank you.
answers and candor with us here tonight.
Councilmember Hudson.
Mr. Hill, you and I have talked in pretty good detail about some of my concerns with the way that the utility district is structured. So I wanted to just talk about those in a public forum so that you have a chance to respond to them. One of my main concerns is that the stormwater utility district will have a maintenance function, but that can also be duplicated because our Department of Maintenance will still be there. Additionally, this stormwater utility district will have a capital function, but we're going to retain our Department of Transportation and Drainage. So again, my concern there is that now we're going from a two-pronged system of managing drainage to a three-pronged system where multiple departments are going to share responsibility. Previous to this council, there was a study that was done that talked a lot about silos in city parish government and the issues that come apart whenever you have different departments managing similar functions and they don't do a great job of talking to one another. I've seen it firsthand in the way that we're managing the ARP money. In drainage maintenance will send something to Department of Environmental Services. DES will say, look, that doesn't fit our scope. We're not going to put it into this program. And then it just sits there. And then we only find out about it because the constituent comes back to us and says, hey, nothing's happening on this issue that I'm having with my property. So I guess walk me through the structure, walk the public through the structure, and explain why this three-pronged system makes sense.
Okay, absolutely happy to do so. I'll start by saying this: the Department of Maintenance is authorized in our plan of government, and the plan of government specifically calls out the type of work that the Department of Maintenance will do: cleaning ditches, cleaning boxes, cleaning pipes, etc. And that will remain the case as we move forward in this new organization. As we have stood up a Department of Environmental Services Stormwater Division that helps us organize the work we have to do that we're required to do by the federal government in our MS4 operating permit. If you think back to when DPW was restructured in 2015, 2016, in that restructuring, we lost the coordination of the environmental compliance activities that we need to have in place in order to ensure that we are in compliance with the Clean Water Act and the things that we're responsible for. So setting that structure up, it will allow us to add inspection capability to verify that we're doing what we're supposed to do for compliance. It also adds more capacity to our system in order to allow us to get to the service requests that residents call in asking us to do much quicker. It also gives us the opportunity to move more into preventative and predictive maintenance, so we take care of our system before it fails and before a cave-in occurs or before a drain box plugs and we experience flooding. It gives us that opportunity to work with the resources with enough capacity to work our way through that with good planning and scheduling of our work. Now, I will share with you that we have a situation now where across multiple departments, we're doing work like street sweeping, as an example. That's funded through the Department of Environmental Services, but it's managed and run in the Department of Maintenance. And we are very experienced in how to do that cross-functionally, and that works very well as a best practice across business and industry. So I think if we apply that same principle to what we do here, not only will we improve, but it will also provide clarity in terms of roles and expectations of what we need our resources to be doing.
Well, I will challenge you not to use street sweeping as the example of it working correctly, but okay, point taken. So you've talked about tonight the importance of doing this evening. I'm worried that when we talk about the importance of doing it so quickly, if it is this important, why have we not gone out and pitched this idea to the community? Why are we receiving calls that, during our stormwater master plan meetings that we've had dozens, this has not been talked about? And even just this week, as the mayor presented to the press club, this was not talked about. My constituents, the feedback that I'm getting is that we're springing this on them. We're rushing it. They're worried that they're going to end up with a big bill on their property tax bill. So that's their concern.
So let me kind of reiterate again. We started last October sharing with the council our point of view of what we thought needed to be done. We spent time earlier this year in the spring working with our legislative delegation on the legislation that was passed that allows this utility to be established across the state. And we believe that part of our plan going forward is to hold communication sessions around kind of the phase 2 of what is yet to come, so people understand that. I will say that we have been under an audit process through our regulatory agencies for some time now. And we have been working our way through those audit findings in a way that leads us to this point in time where we're at tonight. So a part of coming into compliance with where we need to be is to ask council for support to pass this legislation. And other elements of that process, we have been, just to be honest about it, under a gag order, and we haven't been able to really discuss it in a public way, at least not the way we would want to do it, or we would anticipate being able to do it.
So do you anticipate that gag order being lifted between now and when you bring the fee item to us? Or are you saying that we can't go out and discuss the program and the fee because of the gag order?
I think we can discuss what we need to discuss with the public. We just have to be sure that we honor the requirements we have and how we do that, and we think there's a way to do that.
Okay.
To be
Okay.
clear, the stormwater utility is not intended to be, nor are we asking it to be, the funding mechanism for the Stormwater Master Plan 20-year project list. That is separate and different and not a part of what we're asking the stormwater utility to do.
Gotcha. My time is basically up. I will just tell you, I appreciate all of the information. This is a huge issue. I'm not quite there yet, right? I think this is important. I think it's an important discussion for the public to engage with us on. So I will make a motion to defer to October 26th.
Motion to defer to October 26th, seconded by Councilman Baraka. Councilman Gode.
Kelvin, what does the creation of a stormwater public utility district without an associated fee gain us?
Well, it gains us the ability to manage policies and procedures. It gains us the ability to structure how we do the ongoing maintenance out of the general fund budget. So there is about $9 to $10 million that we spend annually from the general fund. And although that's not near enough funding to do what's required, it will help us be a bit more efficient and a bit more organized in how we do that, and we could get that work done with some more efficiencies. I think that will help with the formation of this utility.
Drill in on that. We are doing ongoing maintenance now. What I'm not connecting with is, why do we need a district unless there's an associated fee to accompany it?
Well, and maybe the parish attorney's office can give you their legal opinion, but it gives us the ability to have more control over those assets in the district, right? So the stormwater infrastructure, if you will, it gives us more control, more ability to manage and do the things that we need to do to properly maintain those assets.
The item description says we're creating this district so as to meet state and federal requirements.
Yes.
What requirements are we meeting by creating the district?
The requirement of being able to organize ourselves, to be able to have somewhat dedicated funding, to have somewhat more enforcement of what we do inside of the MS4.
Okay. But you said dedicated funding, which would obviously come from the application of a fee, correct?
That would be one source of dedicated funding, yes.
Okay. And then the item has creation of the Stormwater Public Utility District to provide for the construction and acquisition of additions, improvements, extensions to the system. Does the creation of this utility district mean we get to provide for construction and acquisition and additions and improvements and extensions, or does the associated fee mean that we get to do all of those things?
No, the fee doesn't mean we get to do that. It's the organization and the approval of passage of the utility itself. Beyond that, I'm going to have to ask my legal buddies to help me explain that one.
Part of the reason to form this district is to define where we're going to spend our money, which we've defined it to mirror our permit with DEQ, EPA.
General fund money.
Whatever funding you need to satisfy permit requirements.
Which presently is general fund money?
Presently, it's general fund money.
Okay.
Part of, you can't create a fee without the district. You can't create a fee that goes into the general fund and then say, okay, now we're gonna, well, this year I'm only gonna give you 9 million, but I had 11, I was collecting 11 million, but I'm only gonna give you 9 million. It has to be a dedicated fee. So the first step in having dedicated funds that the regulatory bodies can look over your shoulder and say, okay, yeah, I see the assets that you're putting in, the money that you're putting in to manage your stormwater assets. So step one is create the district.
Right. So we create the district, hypothetically, we created tonight with the approval of this, then the 9 million in the general funds is dedicated for that district?
We can organize the district and the people that are going to be doing the activities that we need to do. Maintenance is going to do a portion of it, you know, so they will have a portion of their budget now that comes out of this, if that's the 9 million, if that's all we got, that comes out of 9 million that will, they can't divert it to fixing potholes, you know, it's got to be used for fixing ditches. That's the sort of thing, but it is the first step. I'm not going to lie to you and say we're not going to be back here with a fee. That I think that the requirements that we're under are going to take us to the point where we're going to have to assess a fee. And people talk about kicking the can down the road. I've been here almost 25 years. I first became aware of this problem, I think it was 2008.
Well, let me say this.
Yeah.
This is not a gotcha line of questioning. I'm not trying to lead you down a path so I can spring something on you. I'm struggling with this item should accompany a fee. And to have stakeholder groups come up and say, we don't understand the comprehensive vision here is concerning to me.
First, you got to buy the car, and then you need to buy the gasoline to fuel the car.
I understand, but you
don't need gasoline if you don't have a car.
But you got to plan for the ability to buy the car, right? And you do everything together. I just think the two items, my colleagues are talking about, we have to take control of our own destiny. We have to improve flooding. I agree. That comes with a fee. So every discussion I'm hearing is the fee, not necessarily the creation of the district. So in my mind, it is, here public is the comprehensive view of what we're trying to do. Go ahead, Andy.
And let me say this to you, I think I know where you're going. This is what Bob is saying, and I think he did a very good job in explaining it. And in order for us to get to talking about the fee and having a discussion about the fee, the law requires us to establish this framework first, and that's what I call it. This utility district that we're asking you to pass tonight is the framework for what the city of Paris wants to do ultimately, which, as Bob stated, will include a request for a fee and some items as to how we will do things down the road. All that will be available, Councilman Hudson, for discussion and for debate and for the public to give their input and for the public to receive information. All this does tonight is set the framework and put it in place to allow the fee to be collected and for everything to go forward. If for some reason this is stood up and the fee is never passed, then all we can utilize is what's in the general fund and nothing else.
Did you say this has to be created for the discussion of a fee?
No, sir.
Okay.
This has to be,
Just make sure.
but by law, and by the way that the statute was set up under Louisiana law, we cannot pass a fee without this structure being established
Yes.
and passed by this council.
Yes.
And I, in my opinion, don't think we can do that at the same time. Okay? I don't think, in my opinion, I think it's cutting it close.
Is that your legal opinion?
It is I will get it to a legal opinion. We talked about it earlier today, but this is my professional opinion based upon 23 years of legal practice and the way things are interpreted. For us to put ourselves in a position where at the same night we're passing 61, and I just put an arbitrary number out there, which is the framework, then passing 62, which is the funding, I think it's cutting it close and playing fast and loose with what the intent of the statute was. It may technically be okay, but I don't think that's what the city wants to put itself. That's not the type of things we should be doing and establishing this framework. If our goal is to do what we need to do.
Okay.
Is that right?
Thank you all.
Okay. with the creation of this utility, will they be releasing, and somebody may have brought this up before, will they be releasing a full comprehensive plan of projects and everything else that will be moving forward to present to the public that goes along with the other item?
So.
Kind of like you did with Move BR.
Right. So as we stand here tonight, there is no comprehensive capital improvement list to release. Part of the work that the utility would do and the stormwater division would do would be to create that list of required improvements over time. And when we get that list created, we'll be happy to share that, but that list does not exist tonight.
So at this time, we do have two motions on the floor. The original motion is to defer the item for a week. Is that correct?
No, till October 26th.
To October 26th. That's the original motion made by
Mr. Hudson, seconded by Ms. Rocca.
Mr. Hudson. Go ahead, Councilmember.
I just want to get some clarification. October 26th would be the day, would be the appropriate day that we would also be able to hear the fee item, correct?
I think we would be prepared to have a fee discussion at that point in time. I will say this, though. I am concerned, deeply concerned, if this item has to wait till the 26th. That would be problematic for City Parish.
And you wanted to make mention of something?
No, I think Kevin said what I go back to what I said. I just wanted to reiterate what Kevin said. I think it goes back to what I said. I think that would be severely problematic for the city parish. That is the day, Councilman, but I think it'd be problematic.
So that is the original motion, but we're going to vote on the substitute motion first.
May I ask a point of order? Or,
Sure.
Yeah. So if the issue is that the item to create the district needs to happen before the fee, and it needs to happen a certain amount of time before, can we not simply delay the fee vote? I mean, would that not rectify the situation? If this council is saying we need more time we need to give you guys more time to go and pitch this idea to the community, I mean, is that not an ample way to rectify the time issue that we're running into?
Councilman, I think the problem is this. And I think Kevin alluded to this at the beginning, we're on a time frame right now and dealing with the situation, dealing with what we're dealing with. Like you said, we're under a gag order and we're under an agreement that we can't go too far into it public-wise. But, again, I think that this is just a framework. It still gives every opportunity between now and October 26th for everything to be vetted, for any information to be provided to the community, and on the 26th for there to be a public hearing for everything to be vetted as of concern. This matter here is just simply, again, standing up the framework.
Yeah, but that's not my question. Right, my question is if we delay the fee vote to give it more time, does that rectify the situation?
Again, I did, and I don't mean to, and I'm not being disrespectful when I tell you this. I did answer the question, Councilman, when I told you I think it would be problematic dealing with the situation that concerns the gag order. This is our request for it to be done in this manner so we can avoid any issues in dealing with that situation.
All right, thank you.
Councilmember Dunn?
I'd just like to offer this up as well. The situation that the city is dealing with the gag order, when those conversations are had, there's an expectation to see steps or progress taken to take some of the conversations into consideration. And if they don't see an indication that you're taking steps to resolve the situation, not just conversation and talk, but action, then all those conversations and agreements break down. So I know they're kind of hog-tied on what they can and can't say, but just kind of think about it in that realm. The situation that we're up against calls for some action to be taken because administrations prior have not taken action. And, the hammer hadn't been dropped, but the hammer is threatening to be dropped if some action is not taken. So if you delay it, that sends a message to the powers that be that you're not serious about taking action and resolving the situation.
We dancing on the edges now. We dancing on the edges of the gag order, so I just want to caution council members.
Can I ask Kelvin or Andy this? In that realm, and it may be both of you guys, do you feel like taking actionable steps like this sends a message that we're serious about resolving this situation and ultimately leads us to being released from the gag order?
Yes, I think it's not only critical, but I think it's imperative that we do. And I think we should have the utmost sense of urgency to move forward with strategic actions that improve our situation.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to vote on the substitute motion. The substitute motion was made by Councilmember Dunn and seconded by Councilmember Banks. We're going to vote on the substitute motion. We're going to vote on the machines.
Machines
To
are open
approve
on the
as-
substitute motion
as
to
stated.
approve. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Motion to approve as is.